Okay, so we were talking in the last video about how religion is a mechanism designed to contain and control human violence by putting all of that violence and all of that conflict, which was wrought by mimetic desire and our hyper-mimeticism, our hyper-imitation, putting all that frustration on one person and collectively victimizing and persecuting that person. And then society forms a social cohesion against that person, a mob mentality, and purges itself of that evil. So society is founded on, for Girard, and controlled by the scapegoat mechanism. This is what he calls a scapegoat mechanism. Religion is based on a scapegoat mechanism. The religious impulse we have, the impulse to control violence, is itself violent. That is, it's formed by collective persecution. Now, Girard thinks that when human communities retell their stories of collective persecution from the side of the mob, that's what's known as myth. And in all myths, you can see a kind of murder. Take, for example, the myth of Oedipus, the Oedipus Rex, where Oedipus is guilty of patricide, killing his father, and incest, marrying his mother, and therefore he must be expelled at the end of the play. He must be expelled out of Thebes, and he rips his eyes out, and he suffers, but he's guilty. And so mythology for Girard is the retelling of a story of collective persecution from the mob's perspective. Okay, that's what Girard thinks religion and mythology are. And ritual, the ritual reenactment of sacrifice, is merely the reenactment of collective persecution. So you have myth as the story behind the collective victimization, and then ritual, the reenactment of it, right? Often on an altar, mostly with human sacrifices, sometimes later with animal sacrifices, but the reenactment of a collective persecution. And so why did we think gods demanded blood? Well, because we remember all the way back in our history, and by the way, Girard gets this from Freud, when we would collectively victimize, we would experience peace, right? Think of, and I don't want to get too political here, but think of the religious impulse at a political rally where people are chanting certain things and brought together. Usually it's against the other opponent they hate, right? They're chanting things about I don't know, Hillary Clinton, lock her up, or whatever the equivalent is on the left side, where people are united together in collective hatred against one person. That's a religious impulse for Girard, okay? And that gets retold in stories in mythology, and also and reenacted in ritual myth, okay?